wanted to talk a little bit about influence, and particularly, I think an idea that we carry right now, that we are helpless to influence our situation in the world and all the difficulties that we're facing. And I wanted to just tell a positive story. You know, from a mindful communication perspective, we have a different view of influence. It's not this thing where I stick my ideas into your mind or get you, hooked on my view. Our idea of influence is actually just a kind of acknowledgement that in fact we as human beings are interdependent. You know, what I say naturally affects you, and what you say naturally affects me. And that's true whether we like each other or not. You know, whether I'm holding out your views or letting them in, whatever. You're influencing me and I'm influencing you in real time. That's interdependence. So this story is actually goes back to 1920, and the vote that was done to get women the ability to vote, the ability to participate in politics. And it all came down to a politician in Tennessee, one politician. His mentor was violently against the idea of women getting to vote, and had given a speech, actually I think even the day before, saying, these are the women pushing for this are childless women who are gonna, tear down the fabric of society, ne'er-do-wells, and just a bad influence on our children and all of this, right? The classic stuff that they were into. But this one politician's mother, Henry Burns is his name, and his mother's name was Febb Burns. She wrote him a letter. She wrote him a 7-page handwritten letter. And in that letter, in the sweetest possible way, in the way that a mother who loves her child expresses herself to her child, just said, I hope you do the right thing. Be a good boy. Vote for this. It's really good. We all want this. This is a good thing. And, in the midst of a letter about other things, who showed up at the house and what was going on that week. And unexpectedly, the next day, at the start of the vote, they were wearing flowers, actually. The ones who were for it were wearing orange flowers, and the ones who were against were wearing red flowers. It's a very old-fashioned thing to do. But he took off the flower that he had on, and he cast his vote for the right of women to participate. And it in the whole room erupted into chaos because there's so many people were shocked that he did this. And people afterwards said, oh, he'd been paid off. It was corruption or something. And he gave a speech the next day. He said, no, it was my mom. I'm doing what a good, Southern son does, listens to his mother. It's like an all-American thing to do. And I point this out, it's a very simple story, happens to have had utterly profound implications, utterly wonderful implications. But really, it was just pointing out that we are interdependent. We do really affect each other. And right now in the world, we're affecting each other all the time. And honestly, like on social media, we can affect 1,000 people or 10,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000 people really rapidly. And the question is, what kind of influence are we? If we are that hooked in to that many people, let's use that. Let's use that for good, not just my idea of good, but actual good, actual influence that actually helps. So think about that, not just at the obvious level, oh, I'm saying the right thing, but am I saying it in a way that can be heard? Am I saying that to this group? You know, be a good boy. That wouldn't work for everyone, but that worked from a mother to a son in the American South at that time. It was very skillful. How can we be skillful in that way? How do we open up enough to pay attention, become mindful of what's going on so that we can actually be that kind of positive influence and turn things around? That's what we need right now, right? Let's turn things around.